it really doesn't seem to be helping anybody in any way.
No,
Just
it's not.
it's just a sort of entity.
It's like what I was having another discussion on the division. I'm trying to draw it back up.
I hear it's kind of a shit game.
I I have a lot of Facebook debates. So I've done like probably 5 of them today. Um, I'm trying to remember exactly which argument it was. Ah, fuck. I don't remember. It might have been yesterday.
Yeah, Facebook is quite a battlegrounds these days.
Yeah, it is. And see, I've noticed with these social media sites, there's so and Egypt is a good example of what a social media site can positively do, even though it was violent and everything like that.
During the Arab
But
Spring,
it
you
still
mean?
brought those people together. You know.
I assume you
So
mean
what?
during the Arab Spring.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, it brought those people together. Social media did.
Well, more than that, just the internet in general. There were
Yeah.
quite a few people who were organizing things through services like the Tor network, in
Yeah.
the deep web, in more
Yeah, and
secured
see, I'm
methods.
I'm not familiar with any of that stuff, so I mostly have experience with Facebook because it's kind of the rock of the
The
internet
clear
right
net.
now. You know.
I would say Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are really quite the big ones.
Yeah.
But in
Um,
any event, yeah, it can be certainly used as a tool for unity. Even if that
Yeah.
unity does happen to sprout and spawn violence,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I feel it was necessary uh, in this instance.
In that case.
Yeah. But that's just the thing. The internet is simply a tool. Anybody's able to use it for whatever means they find.
Sort of like Twitter and the whole
Just.
fucking, ISIS recruiting on Twitter.
Yeah, that's quite fucking something. And
You
yet
know,
the
but
counts
then
stay up for months, and then here we are with uh,
Kraut and
T
T and
getting
Sargon.
banned because he dared to say something just slightly outside of acceptable language.
Exactly. I've been
Ooh,
wanting to rant about that
It's
for a
too
while.
dark. It's too
Yeah.
edgy.
But
me-
they're not taking care of any of the fucking child porn on there either.
Thankfully, I've not
You know?
come across any of that.
I haven't either. It's. I am grateful it's hearsay.
I hope it is just hearsay, but at the same time, if those claims do happen to be false, I wish they would be staked as claims. Because that's really
Well-
quite an unpleasant thing to think of a service which I happen to use.
Yeah. Well, see the sources that have come out with this, and let's go into Jeff's video about this. He wouldn't do a video unless it was true. As true as he could possibly find evidence on it.
Presumably.
See, Jeff is one of those people that let's see,
From what I've
I
seen,
don't
he is quite
very honest.
yes, and he has quite a
That-
reputation for integrity. But of course,
Yeah,
there have been
and
people
that's-
before him, and there will most certainly be people after him who have garnered such a level of community trust who have betrayed them. I'm not saying
Yeah.
he has, but it's quite possible.
Yes.
And at the same time, Twitter is a sort of wild west under certain conditions
Yeah.
in which this could absolutely be plausible. So at the same time, I hope this isn't the thing, because that's a really, really quite unpleasant and despicable thing to throw up anywhere, but especially on the clear net on Twitter. But I also hope that it is false in this sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Or
100%,
isn't.
because I haven't seen it. I 100% agree with you. Um, I am at times skeptical about what Jeff says, but that's only because I have a different viewpoint of it than he does.
Well, I mean,
Like
you
on
aren't
the
going to agree with anybody 100% either.
yeah,
I've disagreed with you multiple times, and
yes,
here
yes.
we are still
Like we were
having
just
a pleasant discourse.
talking on the violence aspect. You know,
Yeah.
we agreed, but we also disagreed on the same subject. You know,
I,
certain extents.
I consider it a respectful understanding.
Yes, you know, it's one of them things that fucking if we're ever out at a bar one night, let's throw that out there, and I happen to get into a fight, you'll probably step to the side and just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch this, but I'm not gonna partake."
No,
You know?
I would more than likely stick up for you. But
Oh
of
yeah,
course, that
yeah,
is an
no,
instance of self-defense.
yeah,
I actually am quite a big advocate of self-defense. I
yeah,
carry
no, self-defense and
several-
hobby fighting are two different things.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like when I was in school. You know, it was a hobby. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm going to get into a fight. That's really not me anymore, and I'm quite a bit too old to really be doing that. So I am more likely to talk myself out of the situation because I know I might break a hip.
Yeah.
You know, um, but when it comes down to it, if I was the same age as you, we're both 21 in a bar and stuff, and you saw me get into this tip with one other dude, you know, you'd probably just be like, okay, it's just between those two. I'll just grab another beer. You know. Uh, and when I was young like that, I did have some friends that were that they believed in self defense, but when it came down to it, if it was one on one, they'd just be like, nope, I'm just gonna grab myself a shot. You know. So it's yeah, we
I
went
don't.
on several tangents. It was cool.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah, and
I,
that's the beauty of discussion like this, and this is what we keep trying to instill on the SJWs
and
is
promote.
even though we have certain disagreements, this is a free and open discussion. You know, we're not being cunts to either of us. You know, we're not being cunts towards each other,
Of course.
but we do have disagreements.
Well,
You
just
know,
like anybody
and
does, especially amongst
and
the SJW community. Even though, as mightily as they try to preserve their hive mind, there are extremely differing sects among them.
yes, yes, and I'd like to point out Tim the Demotivator. He doesn't agree with several things. I mean, do I agree with him for the most part? No, no, not at all.
Yeah,
But he does disagree with them, you
of
know,
course.
and he does make it vocal that he disagrees with them. You know,
On some
not
things.
on everything. On like the doxing thing, he thinks it's fucking retarded.
Yes.
You know, he thinks it's a dumb pursuit, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
but
I've actually had some fruitful discussions with him regarding that.
yeah, yeah, and see, it's not like dealing with Michael Rowland. Michael Rowland is an out and out fucking cunt.
Yeah.
You know, his approach is just so I am right, no one else is right. Fuck you, so on and so forth. Whereas Tim the Demotivator is like, okay, let's discuss it. He is more likely to go into, okay, we can agree to disagree.
Depending
You know?
on exactly the interactions he had previously, because I had actually
Yeah.
spoken with him about the bearing incident, and he was
Yeah.
he got really quite defensive and fed up rather quickly,
Well,
which
I
is
think it's
unfortunate.
because he was called out during that whole setup.
I think rightfully so,
You know.
to a certain degree.
Well, I mean, if he knew about some shit, he should have just come with it. Period. You know, been
That's my
like,
point.
nope, y'all are fucking wrong. And you know, he kind of did that, but he was so vague about that.
He very much was.
You know.
I actually had direct discussion with him on Twitter regarding that, and he even liked my comment where I said effectively just that. So I think he has a moral base in which would allow him to agree with quite a few of our viewpoints.
Yeah.
However, after watching quite a bit of his content and hearing quite a bit of his opinion, I I really unfortunately feel that he's not lost, I would say, but
Yeah.
he's perhaps too far into his particular brand of Kool-Aid to ever
Yeah.
really make these sorts of strides into our little band. I
Yeah.
wouldn't call it a community, but a loose network of opposing commentary and ideals and ideas.
Yeah. And I also believe that there's a certain amount of shoehorning. I'm probably using that wrong. Um, let's use the word corralling. Fan bases corralling people
Yeah.
into their own little boxes. I do believe there's a certain amount of that, or other people in that ideology that's speaking out that corral you into the community.
Well,
You know, it's like, okay, let's go back to Jeff on this. Jeff doesn't believe in the community aspect. I understand this, but the fan base and certain people around him pull him in, and he rejects it, and he's critical on all sides.
of course.
Um,
You
but
could still
him
be part of a
personally-
community without necessarily giving bias to
Yeah.
the community itself. I mean, you may be impartial to any particular band, whether they be for you or against you, and
Yeah.
still maintain intellectual integrity, and
Yeah.
you're still de facto part of a community.
And to bring it back to the Richard Spencer thing, I am very disappointed in Christiosity.
Really.
Very
What'd she say?
disappointed. She was on the whole side of this Nazi should have gotten hit.
Ah, right. I remember seeing that. I actually watched one of Bering's videos recently, and found it quite entertaining to see this open admission of, hey, let's do violence against people who
Yeah.
literally have a different opinion than us.
And see, I see all these SJWs, for the most part, as pacifists. At least the outspoken ones on YouTube. All right, maybe not Ghazi, but he's pretty fucking militant. But like when you talk about Christiosity or Christy Winters or Mike, I think Michael Rollins might get into some bar fights. I don't know. He seems like that kind of cunt. But not for an entertainment value. He's more likely to grab his boys and fucking jump on somebody. That's what his personality says to me. Tim, the motivator, I see him as possibly a pacifist. And to see these pacifists speak like that about violence, it
Is really quite
really irks me.
disconcerting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I feel these are probably the same sort of people who would support. And of course, this isn't necessarily. Of course, they support it. Of course, they're all for it. Of course, they would go out of their way. They would try and either implement legislation or go guerrilla and go militant and actually go for it. But I feel these are probably some of the same sort of people who would support the concept of kill all men.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Fuck white people.
yeah. And see, we already know that these people are already along those lines,
It would seem
But-
so with their open admission of deference towards permission of violence towards people who happen to be on the other field.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing that these people would like to see nothing more but somebody like Richard Spencer locked up in a concentration camp just because he has a different ideology.
I could
Even though he
perhaps-
has a negative ideology, just because they see it so negative.
Of course. And that is really the totalitarian aspect that I think they really plant, both amongst themselves and amongst others who actually care to listen to them,
Yeah.
and consider with more than a grain of salt. their positions.
Yeah, see, and then they really believe that they are so different because they believe that they have this tolerance.
Hmm.
To okay, I have a tolerance to Muslims, I have a tolerance to colors, I have a tolerance to this. It's like that one video where the girl's all ranting and raving and going, "Oh my God, I wish I had $20 to give you the tip." Blah blah blah. That bitch is a racist. Period.
I haven't seen that one actually.
Some black guy did a video on it. Somebody else did a video first on that, but some black guy really covers that really good. And then I went and checked out the original video, and it's just 2 minutes solid of this woman screaming in a coffee shop
Oh,
because the blacks are so fucking oppressed and everything like that, and they should have safe health care and everything like that. And
I would
and she's
agree that everyone should
one.
have health care, actually.
I agree too. In fact,
Not
that's
just
actually a positive
blacks.
thing.
What the fuck?
What?
Ah, you're black, so you should have free health care. Alright, that sounds fair.
No, I was going to agree with the fact and say a positive thing about
No,
this Trump
no.
thing going on.
Not you, but them.
Oh, okay. But
Uh,
in fact, Trump is, and this is because of the interview I watched on ABC. Trump actually wants to create more of a universal health care rather than what we have right now.
well, that's what he said anyways.
Yes, that is what he said. So I mean, it's still yet to be seen.
It's a
But
coin
if he
flip.
pulls,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's become a politician, so I mean, he's always kind of been a politician. He's just been the guy backing the politician.
Well, he's a businessman first and foremost,
Yeah.
with his own self-interest. So, if
Yeah,
it just so happens to benefit him in any way, we might see it actually come through. But
and that's exactly what I'm thinking. If he creates this universal health care, it's going to benefit him immensely, and he knows this. It's just like playing chess. You always make the best moves.
Exactly.
You've got to make the best moves. Otherwise, you're going to lose your king.
Mhm.
Period.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what his investments are, but if he has any stake in the pharmaceuticals and medical industry, I'm sure that will
I think he can
be a
afford to lose it.
ginormous boon to him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in essence, even if he had if he is benefiting off of this hyper medical cost, hyper medical cost, if he's benefiting off of this, then with his other investments, he can afford to lose one investment to make his other investments come out better.
Oh, absolutely, and that's just
You know what I'm
basic
saying?
management 101.
And I think that's what people are avoiding in this whole aspect. They're not realizing. And I know that's why quite a few people did vote for Trump. Because they looked at it as he was going to run the country like a business. All right,
Which
so
is
be it.
which is quite a worrying thing to think is a benefit, but I suppose.
It is, but it isn't. It can be done in such a wrong way. But if he continues to make steps to change people's minds, he's going to be in that seat here in 4 years. He's going to be back in that seat in 4 years.
I don't.
Um,
I'm not entirely sure if he'll be able to convince anybody. His ratings
I
right
mean-
now, his approval rating, I believe, last I heard, was about 39%, somewhere around there. I
but
believe
if
that's
he
lower
does-
than any other president in history for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But see, if he makes certain moves, like he does create a universal health care. All right, he does enact that. Basically, Obama already put the building blocks for it out there. All right, he enacts this, what is going to be close to a universal health care. It's going to change the minds and thoughts of a lot of people. They're no longer going to have to pay for health care.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that and all presidents do. All presidents play a huge game of chess.
Chest. I bet they
Yes.
do play a huge game of chest.
Yeah, I say it wrong too. But he is going to be he is playing a huge game of chess, and I I think it's like we've said before. It is way too soon to actually make a judgment call.
I think so.
You know,
However,
and
we do see the precedents and the trends, and I think we can at least make some informed predictions.
yes, but also we haven't had a president ever come out the gate actually start enacting
Oh, well,
what he said on the campaign trail.
I believe we have actually throughout history with their executive orders and their proposed legislation.
Say what?
I'm quite sure we have in times past with their executive orders and proposed legislation, but perhaps
Yeah.
never to such a degree where the media has covered it and that people have
Exactly.
reacted.
Yeah, and I think he definitely uses that school of thought that uh,
Publicity is good publicity.
any publicity is good publicity, and I'm pretty sure that's part of his chess game.
I
If you
think
if you come in looking like a bastard, it's easier to come out smelling like roses. you
Depending
know,
on how you play your cards. Trump could
and,
completely do a 180 in these 4 years, or he could just keep on the same path that it looks like it's going to descend down, much to the despair of everyone under
honestly, I think him putting up the wall is only the hang decoration.
it.
you know,
If the wall does get built, I really do just want to see some giant golden T banners. I think that'll help the illegals climb over with their drug burritos shoved up their ass.
and see, because a lot of people are bitching about it. There's the waterways.
Yeah,
Okay, that's one
that's
option.
waterways, simply flinging people over with a catapult, which I've done before.
Yes.
um,
The
like,
tunnels, they're not going to be able to get rid of
yeah,
all the tunnels.
that's one
The
of the
money that's
reasons
back.
that's one of the reasons that I'm against the wall. Walls have been effective since, well, the fucking medieval periods. There were things called, or entire crews of men called sappers, whose
Sappers.
entire
Yeah.
job was to just dig under the goddamn wall and
Yep.
blow it up where they could.
Yep.
This method has been ineffective for decades, centuries.
Yeah. But if you really look at it, does Trump know that? Yeah, he does.
He might. I
That
don't know.
wall is only a symbol. That's the most this wall is ever going to be, is a symbol.
I think so.
You know.
It's one I don't think will be to the benefit of us necessarily. There's much, much better things the money could be spent on. Like
Well,
actually rebuilding the infrastructure he's promised to.
Well, I think he's going to do that, but I also think that these jobs that are going to be part of building the wall are going to change stuff down in that area. I don't know if you've ever been down to Texas or that
No,
area
I
at all.
haven't.
If you look at the border towns of Texas, they are shit.
Yes, they are.
Um,
They're very
they,
Mexicanized and poorified.
yeah, the revenue in those towns are crap, and those are going to be the majority of the the workers that are going to work there.
More than
Um,
likely.
and and it's going to help those areas immensely.
I
Um,
think so.
and him being a businessman and coming out of bankruptcy as often as he has, he definitely knows how to fix a bankrupt system. But he likes to play with his money too.
I mean, he didn't really fix a bankrupt system. He played the system to completely benefit him and fuck everyone underneath him.
Yes, but if uh, if he's going to play this like a businessman, as he is, by benefiting the country, he is ultimately making Trump Industries probably the most powerful industry in the world.
Well, if he actually did some industrialization over here.
Yeah.
Ironically, his clothing brands are made in China, despite his huge outspeaking against the China.
I agree. I agree. And there are certain hypocrisies to what he's saying and everything like that, and I do agree. I mean, shit, he even imports his wives.
Yeah, it's pretty damn funny.
Most of his staff is from Mexico. You know?
Yeah.
So ultimately, I don't really feel that. I think that wall is a symbol for all the working class people that are bitching about being undercut at every turn they make by not being able to provide for their children.
Oh yes.
That's all that wall is meant to be. You know, okay, this president made an effort, so you have all these working class people going, yeah, he's making an effort, woo.
I think that's the 100% most ineffectual option you could have taken to do that, though. There are so many other symbols that could have been made local instead of just, yes, now we have a wall that can be jumped, just like every other walled section of the border fence.
But you also got to realize that there's a lot of mentally closed off people.
There are.
It takes a symbol like this for them to actually go, oh, he's trying for us.
There are so many other ways, though, that are far more better.
Oh, I agree. There's plenty other ways,
that
like
would
the legalization.
that would yield the same effect. I tell you what,
Yeah.
on the wall providing so many jobs for these very people who would feel undercut, actually coming up with a New Deal Mark II would probably be one of the most effectual means of committing this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Considering
I think
he does have these massive promises to revitalize and restructure the infrastructure of the United States, from roads to hospitals to administrative buildings, etc. Well, you know what? Perhaps he should actually come out with this, like the presidents before him have with
yes.
their plan.
I can't say if he's going to or anything. The only thing that I really have a qualm against him is Hillary's not in cuffs. Bill's not in cuffs.
Well, I mean, they've been friends for years. Why would you expect them to cuff their
Yeah,
friends whom they congratulated upon her arrival to his acceptance speech? And even during their completely hilarious roasting episode they did for live television at one point, it was Hillary wished him luck and said they should perhaps work together after this. So I'm surprised that anybody expected he would be against her. No, she's just as corrupt as him and vice versa.
Yes. And that's a point that I made to a lot of Trump supporters. I'm like, dude, they have been best friends since they met.
I wouldn't say best friends, but they're definitely in bed with each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, and see, I see all that as a show. But on that one debate where he kept saying you should be in prison, I would put you in prison. That right there made me go, okay, if he actually does that, I will be more on his side.
Upon the very statement of that, I knew immediately that he wouldn't. It's not in his character.
I agree. It's just that's one thing that he did say, that if he had actually upheld, then I would be on his side. You see what I'm saying? Because that is showing he's actually going to drain the swamps.
Even if he did that, there is a criminal, pun intended, amount of people he's electing for his staff right now, his cabinet.
Yeah.
So even if he did somehow pull the strings to take Hillary out, I have absolutely no doubt that that would be the end of it right there.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it would be the end of it. Oh, oh wait, yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think it would be the end of corruption, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. You know, and I know the cast of characters that he's putting into offices really make me sick.
And quite a large majority of citizens, and actually people who don't even live in the United States.
But then again, it comes down to what is his end game. Even though he's putting these people into these positions, is their plot going to benefit us?
No, not really. Not whenever you're
Well,
putting in the CEO of ExxonMobil and a woman who has never been to a public school, who states that she wants to privatize public education
yeah,
with waivers as a solution to our tremendous scholastic deficit.
yeah.
And
What I'm saying.
sorry, go ahead.
Uh, no, I mean, continue on what you were saying. I kind of lost my path. Okay, no, what I'm saying here is somebody can do something negative, and it have positive results. You see what I'm saying?
That's potential. However, with the
You can do
character,
something positive, and it having negative results.
well, of course, you have to look at your long-term effects of any action you take. That's, in fact, one of the most important things that any executive, judicial, or legislative office holders need to consider, both the short and long-term effects.
Yeah. And see, one thing I do know these people do want is they want more customers. How do you do that? You fix the economy.
I have high doubts that these people's interests are in the economy.
No, I agree with you. But it might be a positive side effect of what they do. No, I do not agree with this regulation bullshit that they're trying to pull here. All they're going to do is get people killed.
And severely damage the state of the United States.
Yes.
Especially whenever your EPA cabinet member has voted to completely abolish the EPA. And your FCC cabinet member has been against things like net neutrality and any regulation of the internet service providers who literally write their own laws to follow.
Yeah. But my statement on this is, even though they're doing this stuff, they're underestimating the power of the people. You know, it's going to, if it goes the right way, it has a high chance of uniting us.
Well, I think that's for certain.
I was watching an episode of Scrubs, and they went into a huge political debate about it.
Oh,
And
that's unanticipated in Scrubs.
Dr. Kelso had created this discount at the coffee shop there. And to get them to stop arguing and stop being divided, because it was causing issues within the hospital, he took away that discount and acted like a dick to them.
Oh.
He gave them an enemy.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you've also got to
like,
consider, in this situation that you were just describing, that's a direct impact on people, which is immediately identifiable. I'm paying a little bit more. It's hurting my wallet. This is unforgivable. Whereas with something that is to the breadth and depth of United States politics and economic impacts and things that might arise from that, it is extremely, extremely easy to simply go right over the heads of people. Whether willingly, by their own choice to simply remain ignorant of it because it's simply too dense, too much of a knowledge curve, or simply because they just don't hear about it. Because I can guarantee none of these things, for the most part, are going to be covered in the mainstream media, and if they are, they're going to be whitewashed.
Well, it's like his travel ban. It is the most publicized travel ban. He knows that everything he's doing is publicized. Mm-hmm. You know, he can use that media.
He very much can.
But he can
even now, there was a bit of it that is extremely presupposed by the media right now, which is that Christians are somehow going to have a preference in this legislation, executive order.
Yeah.
Which
and that's
at
the whole
no
reason
point seems to have been actually dictated by anyone.
Yeah. He on purpose grabbed Pence for that reason.
Sorry?
To get the evangelical vote.
Oh, well, of course.
You know,
whenever you diversify your immediate spokespeople, yeah, you're gonna have that effect. But
you know, and I think he's setting up his pawns with all these people. I think there's a high chance that a lot of these people might get in trouble. You know,
I don't foresee that.
It's not a foreseeable thing. It's like Ollie North. You know, Ollie North and G. Gordon Liddy both went down. G. Gordon Liddy went down, and he became a radio broadcaster after he got out of prison. He was a CIA guy that got taken down during Whitewater. He was a patsy.
I'm not familiar with Whitewater either. I believe these things were a little
Watergate.
bit before
Watergate.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Watergate.
Even still, that's quite a bit before my time, so the fine details you might have to enlighten me on.
And Ollie North, it was during, and it's before your time too. It was during the Iran-Contra affair. He's the one that took the hit. He was a general.
Right.
And I believe, and I'm not going to say it's absolute, I believe that there is a chance that these people being put in the seats are being set up to be patsies.
Well, that's entirely possible, but that's all predicated upon the assumption that Trump will actually get caught in any of these scandals.
Yeah, but he already knows if he's already planning some shit. Then, you know, he's going to put people into play.
I don't think that would be good for him long term, and he very well knows that. Unless he intends on simply stepping in, ripping out whatever he needs to and running away with it, and just leaving his cabinet to deal with it.
Yeah, and that is a high possibility.
I don't know about that.
But it's also a high impossibility, you know.
I mean,
basically what I'm throwing out here is, speculation.
It's entirely plausible. It's entirely possible and plausible, but it's unlikely, I feel, to an extensive degree.
But I am very interested, even though I voted Joe. I am very interested to see what happens. If he pulls it away from this race thing, which is my hopes. Even though I'm not a supporter of his, it's just like Obama told him, I hope you do the best at this job, and, you know, because it benefits everybody if he does a great job.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't see how anybody can be definitively, absolutely, unquestionably against him when he is our president de facto. He's here. He's made it an office. I don't like it. A lot of other people don't like it, but he's fucking here.
Yeah.
So you might as well try and work with the guy, or try and get him out of office. You have one of the two choices, and I don't think this latter is going to work. So you might as well go with the former.
Yeah. If they go ahead and start, and he hasn't done anything to produce such effect thus far. But if they go ahead and are successful in their removing Trump idea, we got the head. I don't fucking want that. I don't want that by any
Neither do
means.
I. But he has quite a great deal of power anyway as vice president. Vice presidents are one of the most overlooked big players in politics historically. Like it's a fucking it's incredible to see how much they're ignored. One moment, I have a phone call.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's been a pretty damn good discussion. I think we've had a pretty I think we had a pretty good long look at everything from hitting people in the face to Trump's wall. That's a pretty wide breadth of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and some weird shit in between.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of life stories. Like, there's nothing that goes quite as well as that.
You know, just to throw this into the outro and stuff, what does everybody think about me and Xilver possibly doing a joint channel?
I think that would probably be pretty interesting. You know, I think we could perhaps even go on to Robin's open house if he would have us.
That sounds like a plan. You know, I mean, we'll discuss more off air and everything on ideas about this, and I wanted to throw this out to see what your subscriber base would think about us doing a joint channel. You know, if they're all yay, then we should definitely pursue it. If they're all like nah, then we should probably maybe rethink it.
Or, in fact, a community channel. I think we all liked Benihana. I like talking to him. You like talking to him. Everybody who's watched it seems to approve. So, perhaps Benihana, you, me, Liz Reptile, if she's up for it, who fucking knows?
Sounds like a plan. And nobody, I've not ever met anybody that doesn't like a Boston accent like Benny's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always a good time.
Absolutely. And I think we would all really like to hear what you guys have to think about that.
Yes, definitely. And thank y'all for listening. Y'all kick so fucking much ass. I'm going to suck on y'all's balls a little bit.
You just got to get those balls objective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
All
I will objectify your nuts.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Whether you found my content enjoyable or detestable, please give a thumbs up or down, share the video with others, subscribe, and contribute to the discussion via my social media, join the community on our Discord server through the invite link below, and engage with your fellow watcher via the comments below that. If you'd like to support my channel, help me produce videos, and engage with you all with more frequency or show your appreciation, I would petition you to become my patron via Patreon, or donate via the PayPal link in the description below. The link to my Patreon page where you may accomplish this and receive rewards based on the amount donated is listed in the description just below the PayPal. Till then, everyone, this has been Keeping Objective with Xilverwithaxi.
Yeah.